Happy Sunday, everybody. Slancha, it's good to see all of you. Let me know what you guys are drinking this Sunday. Hit that like, hit that share, hit that subscribe, all that fun stuff that YouTube likes us to do. And Anthony reminding you, thank you, Anthony. Smash that like button. Cheers, all you magnificent whiskey people. Cheers to you, Anthony. Anthony is going live at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. He is going to be doing I think it's a Scotch flight with Whiskey Nose and Mr. Great Shot. So that should be a fun stream to watch. I know I'll be tuning in. We'll be wrapped up in time for everybody to go over and catch that. Cheers, Mr. Mom 310. Cheers, Stacy and everybody. It's good to see you as always. Hey, Ed Williams. Good afternoon, y'all. Cheers. It's good to see you, Ed. Thank you for joining us today. We have Josh Fritz. Good evening, all. Cheers. Taste and Sensibility. Cilantro, everybody. It's good to see you, Taste and Sensibility. Christine Vasco, Cilantro, y'all. Christine, it is good to see you. I know Christine's got a lot of good Irish whiskey. Cheers, Liz B. Good to see you as always in here. Sugar Kitty. Good to see you, good sir. I finally got to tune in to Scotch Down Under. I never usually am able to because I work normally when they're streaming. So I was really excited. I got to catch some of Ken's stream today. It's been a bit. Hey, Piper John, cheers to you. Thank you for joining us. Sure, I'm missing everybody. There is the man of the hour. Make you a mod. I did not realize I hadn't made you a mod yet. Let me add as moderator. There you go. I think that worked. Hey, cheers, Mark Vasco. It is good to see you. I know you're away from this for a week, and suddenly I'm forgetting how to do everything. Cheers, Gandy Road. I know Gandy's got some good Irish whiskey. Everybody's saying hi. I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. I am very excited about this flight. Let me know what you guys are drinking. I told my guest earlier, I'm recovering a little bit. We had our Irish organizations play darts together last night. Almost 5 hours of darts, 5 rounds of darts. And I wore snow boots because we still have about 6 inches of snow on the ground. And that was poor choice for playing 5 hours of darts. That was a bit rough. There we go. Thank you, Whiskey Encore. Yes, make sure you guys check out that stream. We will be done by then so that everybody can go over and catch Bourbon Neophyte with Marty and Mr. Great Shots. That's going to be a good one. I think our friend Kilko is also going live at 7 o'clock. I think he had another non-alcoholic whiskey to try, so I'm curious to find out about those. Hey, cheers, Kathy Huey. Slunch, it is good to see you. Hey, Debbie. Yes, it was good to see you last night, too. That was a lot of fun. I definitely wore the wrong boots, though. Definitely wore the wrong boots. I was hating life pretty much all day today. All righty. Let me... As soon as my guest gives me the thumbs up that he's ready, he is ready. I'm going to bring him on. I'm so excited about this flight. Please help me welcome Cheech from Whiskey Encore. Hey, Cheech.
Hey, I'm an amateur. I didn't even have my mic turned on. I'm like, hey, nothing.
Oh,
hey, I would cheers you, but I have no whiskey. So I didn't want to drink anything and taint my taste buds before I tasted this delicious whiskey you sent me. So,
well, let's go ahead and pour the first one. Yeah, I know. I wasn't able to do this last week, and it honestly took me a minute because I'm like, make him a mod. Wait a minute, how?
Well, I was a mod. I'm a mod as Cheech, but I'm signed in as Whiskey Encore.
Yeah, I think that's
I'm not Whiskey Encore. I am now. Thank you.
I ran into that same issue
so, yeah, I just wanted to drop that link for Anthony.
So
which one are we drinking first?
So we're going to start with the 2 Dunbills. So the way you're going to group these in 3 groups of 2 by the brand that they are.
Gotcha.
So we're starting with the two Dunbills, and this is kind of a fun Irish whiskey experiment, kind of low-key Irish whiskey experiment, because I really wanted to showcase the different aspects of Irish whiskey with this. So the first thing we are drinking, we have 2 Dunbills samples. Dunbills is known for producing sherry bomb single malt Irish whiskey. So we are drinking two Dunvilles. They are both 12 years old. They are both finished in Palo Cortado casks. These are two different casks. They're also both cask strength.
They sure are.
Yeah.
I'm looking at them like, oh, we're just going to jump right in with both feet.
Yeah,
So
I
guess
think this is the
kind of that
lowest
way.
proof stuff I sent you.
It's kind of all that way, isn't it? All right, pour small, Cheech. I'm really looking forward. So, which one do you want to go with first? 1749 or 1765?
Let's go 1765 first, because that's the first one released.
All right.
All right. So
I'm ill prepared. I got to unwrap them and everything.
No, you're all good. You're all good.
Okay.
So this is Dunville's cask 1765. These are single casks. Both of these are examples of Dunville single casks. If you ever get a chance to get one, you're never going to be disappointed. I've had so many of these. This one specifically was done there's a Facebook group called Friends of Irish Whiskey. And they once a year will do, they do releases more than once a year, but all the money is to raise money for this charity that's in Dublin called the Capuchin Day Center. And they kind of, they feed and clothe the homeless in and around Dublin City. Okay. So all of the money, it's the makers are really nice. They provide these casks, and the money all goes to the cause. So it's always a really good thing to support. This one also, they have two local artists that do prints based on the bottle. So I have
it was a beautiful label. I wanted to say what a beautiful label that is.
Dunville's is known for their really nice labels.
Didn't you tell me something about I can't get any of these whiskeys here? These are all
Yes, these are all exclusive? From Ireland. All of these you can't get any of these.
So I can't get my hopes up, is what you're saying.
If you are in a state that allows shipping of alcohol, Ohio is a control state. It's not one of those. I think Florida is.
It is. Yeah, I can get it.
Okay, so you can get them, but you can't buy them in the U.S.
I'm going to go ahead and pour the other ones just to.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I would encourage. I went ahead and did that as well. Actually, I started with that one and then got sidetracked.
Okay. All right, so, I've got them both poured.
But this one, the first one is 58.6% ABV. The second that you're pouring is 58.4% ABV. The second one that we are comparing it to, this is Dunville Single Cask, 12-year, Palo Cortado finish, and this one was done for the Stories and Sips Whiskey Club. So this is same kind of label, but in green.
Love it.
And there's a pair of the colors side by side, kind of close in color. The Stories and Sips is a little bit darker.
A little darker.
Darker.
I don't really think it comes through in the Glen, though. They're about the same.
It does come through, yeah. It comes through a little more. You can definitely tell one is darker than the other.
They definitely have different noses. That's interesting.
They do. This is why I sent you these two. It started with this started with these two, and I'm like, these are two great examples of 12-year-old Dunvilles, Palo Cortado cask finish, but they're night and day. They're completely different, and you wouldn't really think that. Climate in Ireland, you don't get like you do here, where you've got such a vast difference from top of the rick house to bottom of the rick house, which they call them warehouses over there. But
they don't know who Rick is.
I don't know who Rick is.
Okay, much denser nose on the 1749. I don't know how other way to refer to it.
Yeah, the casks honestly are and I'm going to put this one over here.
Both smell fantastic though. I'm getting like crazy like fruit bouquet thing going on, and it's wild.
These are two of my favorites, and I could tell you I've had older Dunvilles that I don't like as much as one of these. You can the Dunvilles you can get in the US, in case anybody is interested in trying one of these. You can get Dunvilles 10 in the US. A lot of the Total Wine stores carry that one. That one is still, I would buy that all day long. James, there's James Morgan.
I see James Morgan. I want to say hi to a few people. Morgan. I see the Vascos are here. I didn't say hi to the Vascos.
Yeah, the Vascos are here. We caught them earlier. Peter White is also here. Cheers, Peter White. Peter White has got some very good Irish whiskey as well. Make sure I didn't miss anybody else. I think I got
very little Irish whiskey. I think it's the whiskey I might have the least of. I might actually have more Indian whiskey than I do Irish whiskey, which isn't saying much because I only have like 5 bottles of Irish whiskey. So
You do have some good stuff because you've got the red spot.
Yes, I have. I think I have red, blue, gold. I have a lot of spots.
Do you have gold 13 or gold 9? Probably gold 9.
The original one.
That's the 9, yeah.
9, yeah.
Oh, your red brush PX is almost gone. Christine, mine's gone. I need to restock it, especially before the price goes up again.
Yeah, so the sweetness on the sherry comes through on the nose, especially on the earlier cask. What are we going to call that one? 1765. Seems a little sweeter.
Yes.
And then the other one has a little more earthy note going on with it as well.
It does. I get a little more musty. I get a little more musty on the second one, on the 1769.
Yeah. I want to give this a taste. Is that all right?
Oh, yeah. Sláinte.
Sláinte. Oh, my goodness. That's delicious. That is so good. It's like, wow. It's like barbecued pineapple. Maybe not so barbecued, but grilled pineapple.
I can actually see Cheech when it isn't way past my bedtime.
Yeah. Hey, Christine. The sun's still up. But kinda. I guess it's down.
Yeah, I always try to catch your stream, and I was excited because the last week I was able to because it was a holiday, but normally I'm like, I can just log in before I have to go to bed.
Yeah. Well, I'm more geared towards the West Coast and further west, even though I'm on the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a maniac, I guess. I like the late nights. That's just where I like it. So,
hey, it's on give West Coast some love.
Yeah. Cheers, James.
Just sipping on a little 2 Stacks. So, James, that's actually a great lead in. So, my guest next week will be Shane McCarthy from 2 Stacks Irish Whiskey.
Oh, wow.
Cheers,
Richie. I got to refrain from saying hi to everybody. That's the only thing I do on my channel. Find myself 20 minutes behind. Okay, that's very nice. I definitely got a fruit bouquet thing on there. Is there anything else I should be looking for? It's sherry finished, and the sherry's prominent.
Palo Cortado, one I usually get on Palo Cortado is those little like Danish butter cookies that come in the blue tin.
Oh yeah.
I get like that Danish butter, like that almondy, buttery Danish cookie note on.
Yeah,
that.
I could
typically
see that.
on Palo Cortado.
Yeah, that's
and the cast 1765. I do get that note.
Okay, so that's the first one. Yeah, I definitely get that.
That's the first one. Now,
let me drink a little water here.
Notice I said I normally get that note. This is a note that I get on a lot of Palo Cortado. I have a 21-year Dunville's Palo Cortado that won Irish Whiskey of the Year in 2022. Got that note on that one. This next one we're about to drink kind of goes against the grain. It's very different. I don't get that note on this next one that we're going to try on 1769. And I think Amy, who's in chat, I think she also has the same bottle. She probably has both of them.
So on the
pineapple
nose on this
and Irish is so fun. Yes,
I'm getting like a brulee thing, like a burnt sugar caramelized something on the nose on this one.
I see. I do get some almond on the nose.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
hey, I get the almond. How are you doing?
Hey, Emily.
Yes, Mr. Mom, get the Dunvilles over the 3 Crowns. The Dunville's 10. The 3 Crowns, it's okay, but I don't know that it's really worth it. All right,
I'm going in for a sip. Going in for a sip. Sláinte.
Sláinte.
Wow. A very different experience.
Totally different.
The fact that these are essentially, they went for the same thing and got nowhere near it.
2 cast numbers apart. 2 cast numbers apart. And
vastly
they are
different whiskeys. Oh, so this one actually kicks a little higher. Like you feel the proof a little bit more on this one. For me, I don't generally feel proof, but I can tell it
drinks a little bit hotter. Honestly, to me, it drinks more. If you didn't tell me this was Palo Cortado, I would have thought it was Oloroso.
Yeah.
Because the notes I'm getting are more like marzipan than I get with Oloroso.
Marzipan. That's the note that I was trying to find. Yes, absolutely with that. I'm having another sip. It's yummy though. Thank you for sending me such delicious whiskeys.
You're welcome. This
I owe you.
Is really indicative of what.
So in a few weeks, I'll send you a flight, and maybe I'll go on early or something. You know, it's often known on Tuesday nights that the channel that generally goes on before me generally doesn't go on much at all. So maybe I'll do an early Tuesday in a couple of weeks when I know those guys aren't on, and then I'll send you a flight. I'll send you some bourbon
that'll work.
Probably some cookies.
Oh,
I told Jen, I was like, when I send Stacy a flight, you got to bake cookies.
I know, and I need to send her some back. So I only make cookies once a year, and I told Jen, I said I make the 12 dozen Irish cream cookies with the 2 stacks Irish cream, and I've got like a cookie stamp, so I sit there and stamp out 6 dozen cookies. But it's since I got a KitchenAid mixer, it's remarkably easier.
Yeah. Well, it's a bigger operation around these parts.
Yeah, yeah. I saw what she does, and like,
Yeah.
yeah, I need to stop complaining.
No, you're not complaining. Stamping them out. I used to do that with my mother, was do the stamped cookies, and it's labor intensive. And then if you're
It is.
labor intensive on the front end of making the dough, then it can be a nightmare.
I'm also picky, so if they don't turn out right, I redo them.
That I'm
Yeah,
that guy.
marzipan and rancio. Yeah, Sugar Kitty had this discussion with one of my past guests, Sir Morris O'Connell, about the
Okay.
rancio involved in the casks.
I'm not exactly sure what the rancio is. Educate me a little bit.
Sugar Kitty can probably explain it better than me, but and correct me if I'm wrong here, Sugar Kitty. It's that pencil shaving note that
Okay.
you can get on Irish whiskey that's been, especially in a sherry cask, too long.
Right.
If I've had some Irish whiskey that's been fully matured for 13 years in a sherry cask, and it's phenomenal, but you do get a little bit of that, like that pencil shaving note on them. It just says what it is on those.
Now that I know to look for it, it's there. It's slight, but it's
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
definitely there.
And you're going to get it on the Dunvilles because the Dunvilles
Yeah.
do a lot of maturation and they spend a lot of time in sherry.
Yeah.
43, you know, Mr. Mom, I mean, it's not horrible. I mean, it's just, if they have the 1808, I might grab that one instead because I think it's a better deal too.
Well, let me
Amy
talk
is
to Orlando
pouring.
real quick. Orlando, buy it. Just buy it.
Amy, that one is drinking. Amy's drinking that one. I figured
Okay.
you had it, Amy. Ignore incoming text, okay? I had it face down. I'm not on Wi-Fi. No, I'm not on Wi-Fi. That was the only thing I checked for. Hey, thanks, Richie. Yeah, if you guys are not subscribed to Cheech's channel, it's a whole lot of fun.
It is. For me.
Unfortunately they put me in an 8:30 meeting the day after 8:30 in the morning. So
Yeah. You just
and I'm
gonna ask
already
them to
not real
stop doing
pleasant before I've had my coffee.
that.
Oh, they have the peated. Yes, I would agree with that. The peated version is a touch better. Totally would agree with that.
Which one's the
There we
peated
go.
version?
There's Sugar Kitty. It's an umami nut flavor.
Okay, gotcha.
I usually get more of like a pencil shaving, but yes.
Funky, but I like funky.
Yeah.
I think I like the second one a little bit better just because it is kind of funky.
It
And
is. This is why. So this is
it's
how
got
this
a
flight got started for me to send this to you.
it's got
Because
like a brightness to it, like a top end brightness to it that
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of lifts it up a little bit. I really like that.
It does. It's got like more layers going on. The other one is very good, but it is very straightforward. It's sweet. It's what I expect in a Palo Cortado finished Irish whiskey. The second one takes everything you thought you knew about Palo Cortado finished Irish whiskey and flips it upside down.
I can't even tell that it's really sherry finished. I mean, I guess if I was told it's sherry finished, but other than that, the first one's obviously sherry finished. Obviously,
Yeah.
they're both the same finish, but it comes off way more on the first one as a sherry finish than this one does. I'm going to put this one aside and revisit it when
Yeah.
we're done.
This one, yeah, the first one, I mean, I could get Palo Cortado. I get the Danish butter cookie note I typically get with Palo Cortado. The second one, I could tell it's sherry, but honestly, immediately I went to Oloroso. It does not taste like Palo
I'm going to go
Cortado.
back to it and
It's
see
so
if I get that
different.
Oloroso vibe because I love Oloroso finished whiskeys.
Think like Lestau.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I've had another single cask 19-year Oloroso that they did for the same whiskey club, and it had kind of some similar vibes to it. Like I said, if you get the opportunity to get one of these Dunville single casks, they're all freaking great. We visited Ecklinville Distillery when we were over in Ireland, so I've come back with several of them. That was one of the places where, my husband just let me kind of go wild. So we came back with a few of them from over there.
I went back to
But
the
this is
first one,
what's
and on the nose, the fruit thing was even stronger this time. Going back from the other
this
one, so
the
fruity.
sweetness comes on really strong
Yeah.
too when you go back to
Very
it.
tropical though. Delicious.
I do get like kind of pineapple on that one.
Yeah. Like to me, it's like grilled pineapple. And I don't know how many people have actually had grilled pineapple, but it's very indicative of a grilled
Yeah.
pineapple. That's
Well, and
interesting.
the kind of grill part is probably somewhat because of their sherry cask, because like that pencil shaving kind of
Right.
burnish. No, but
Delicious
they're
though.
known for their sherry casks, and I have told on my channel here that when we visited over there, it was one of the most unique whiskey tastings I've ever done, because they actually sat us down, and before we drank the whiskey, we started with samples of these different types of sherries. So we had a Fino sherry, an Oloroso sherry, a Palo Cortado sherry, and a PX sherry. And we got to try those separate from the whiskey, and then they started pulling out samples of the whiskey that had been finished in those types of casks. So it's really interesting. It's the first time I've been able to kind of dive into that, and it you were able to pick out those notes a little easier. It was really unique thing. They'd never done it before. I hope they continue to do that though.
I was smiling because I saw Kilco's here. What's up, Brian?
Hey, Kilco. Oh Lord, look at this guy.
You gotta say Lord.
Yeah, loud. You're in Rhode Island. They don't say that like that there.
Well, he's theatrical about it.
Kilco, make sure you drop the link to your stream in here, because Kilco's going to go live at 7 p.m. We'll be done in time for Kilco to go live, so everybody can bounce over and catch him, and then catch Anthony. Yeah,
Yeah,
everybody saying hi to
I
Kilco.
almost
Hey,
finished what
buddy.
I poured. I was like, I was gonna take it easy, but this one's easy. This one's easy to drink. This one's kind of it's almost
The first one?
yeah, it's kind of refreshing.
Yeah.
It's like it's got a nice clean finish on it.
Yeah, there's a reason why that's all that's left.
Yeah, I get it. Well, thank
Yeah.
you for sending me a sample of your delicious
No, no.
whiskey. So good.
I've accumulated several of these.
I'm
Now that
not the
I've been
guy to
there.
talk you out of buying whiskey, that's for sure.
Hey, Larry 3R, it's good to see you. Cheers to you.
What's up, Larry?
We're into our flight. We started with some Dunvilles Irish whiskey. If you ever get the chance to try Dunvilles, Dunvilles is good. I think Cheech can tell you. Dunvilles is very good.
Listen, as somebody who doesn't generally, not that I don't like Irish whiskey, I tend to gravitate more towards bourbons, and rye. I like rye a lot, but
I like
I'm willing,
rye.
I'm willing to try anything. And I guess I shouldn't say I find something good in every whiskey, because it wasn't always that way. It used to be I was very adverse to scotches. And I think the reason was, and I've probably stated this before on my channel, is I was always drinking unpeated scotches because I was afraid of peat. Now we're talking 20 years ago. I was just afraid of drinking peat. So if I ordered a scotch or somebody offered me a scotch, I would always take something unpeated, and I think it was okay, but I never really got it until I got a Port Charlotte 10 and started drinking scotch with peat in it. And I was just like, oh, now I get it. Now I get it. And Irish, I've just had less exposure to it, I think is what it comes down to. And when the budget is in play, I generally reach for something that's more familiar, but this definitely opens my eyes to maybe I got to find some room for it, but maybe I'll make a shelf of Irish as well. We'll see how that goes.
That's the trick. That's why I don't get deeper into Scotch, because I'm like, one international whiskey is enough. And it's not cheap to get the stuff when you really get deep into international whiskey.
Yeah, there's some American stuff that ain't cheap either.
Oh yeah.
I think it just adds up over the time. I try to have a different shot tonight so people could see more of the whiskey. Can't get the camera far enough away.
Hey, Dave Vogelsang, cheers to you. How are you doing?
Good to see you, Dave.
Never be afraid of Pete. He's a nice guy.
No, I love it now. Now that's my jam. Now I really like it. A couple months back, me and Donald Grants did an all Scotch stream, and yeah, it was great. I tasted that peat for 3 or 4 days after my stream. It was ingrained in who I was for a while.
Donald is going to be joining me here in March. I thought March would be perfect time.
Yeah.
He's going to join me, and we're going to be talking Irish whiskey, and hopefully I can pay attention to chat at all, because when me and Donald start talking Irish whiskey, it's hard to get a word in.
What should we pour
Mr.
next?
Great Shot.
What's going to be the next one, just so I can
All right,
pour?
so the next one we're doing are the 2 Liberator.
Got it. Another 2 aside.
So These are also these were two special releases for that Friends of Irish Whiskey Facebook group. I'm gonna pour. You have the Hag's Tooth edition
That's the
and
one I got in
Bones
my
Peak
hand.
and Bones Peak edition. Now let's take my glass off. Hurry up. The Hag's Tooth edition is a grain whiskey. This has been finished in ex-bourbon cask 3 years, and it was recast then into a fresh first fill ruby port cask for 19 months, and then put back in the ex-bourbon cask for 3 more years.
Oh, wow.
So this is ruby port finish grain Irish whiskey. The Bones Peak edition, this is tawny port malt whiskey. This is a single malt that was triple distilled at Great Northern, finished in ex-bourbon cask 3 years, recast into a fresh first fill tawny port cask for 12 months, then refilled back into a second fill ex-tawny port cask for 4 years.
Oh, wow.
And that was so much they didn't put it on the bottle. They gave you a little card on here that
Yeah.
talked about them.
I was going to say my label only has about half that information. Interesting, though, a ruby port finish and a tawny port finish. You said one's a grain, single grain, but do you know what the grain
ruby
is?
port finish is a grain. And this has been finished, like I said, grain whiskey finished in ruby port, sourced from Great Northern. This is the Bones Peak is a malt, single malt. It's actually single malt. Liberator makes some that are vatted malt, which are just 2 malts from different distilleries. This one is all a single malt. And this is tawny port finish. Now the tawny port finished single malt is 57.7% ABV. The ruby port finished grain whiskey is 63.6% ABV.
Yeah, it's a bit different.
So these were specially done for Friends of Irish Whiskey Group. These were made by Wayward Irish Spirits, who was my guest a couple weeks ago. It's been a month ago now, in December, Sir Maurice O'Connell. So these are some of the whiskeys that he does.
Okay, I watched that. That was excellent.
Yeah, so he has connections in Portugal to these cask makers. So he's able to get very fresh casks. And his brand is known for having being very, very good at port finishes and having real dominant port finished whiskey. And I believe you are a fan of port finish.
I like port wine, so I do like port finish whiskeys. It's interesting because as a single grain, not knowing what the grain is, I'm pretty much just picking up the port.
Yeah, definitely start with the single grain. It tends to be a little bit lighter.
Yeah, it's
hey, Joe, the sample guy.
I was gonna say it doesn't have a very strong aroma, but it's like subtle.
It is. It comes off as a little more subtle, and I mean it's been in that cask for quite a bit.
Yeah.
Hey, Michael, how you doing? Sláinte, everybody. It's good to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Sláinte.
So yeah, this was in 19 months in a fresh, wet first fill. So a lot of times grain whiskey and Irish whiskey, sláinte. A lot of times it's corn is the grain.
Oh yeah, that's nice, but sweet. Yeah. Like not like
corn,
uberly sweet like a straight corn, but even though it's straight corn, it's sweet, but kind of enhances the port quite a bit.
Yeah, single grain whiskey Irish whiskey tends to be sweeter. And corn, wheat are the top 2 ingredients that they make grain
yeah, this is definitely not wheat.
no, it's not wheat.
Not wheat.
No, you can definitely taste it as corn. I kind of get like
now that I get it in my mouth, it's
yeah,
slightly.
This one it does finish a little bit hot, which is 63.6%. So you're gonna have that.
Yeah, at first I didn't think it had a whole lot of complexity to it, but now it's kind of unraveling a little bit and getting a lot more there. Because this one went into a bourbon barrel, then a port barrel.
Bourbon barrel into first fill fresh ruby port cask, back into a bourbon barrel.
Interesting. It definitely has some bourbon notes in it. Like there's
It
this
does.
slight hint of vanilla that keeps trying to
Yeah.
poke through. And right as I think I'm finding it, it kind of disappears and then fruitiness takes over.
Yeah.
What's up,
Hey,
John
John
Cloud?
Cloud. Cheers. Cheers to you, buddy. How are you doing? Cheers to all my friends. Yeah, I definitely get that vanilla, and I think that's why I kind of get that sugar smack cereal note. It's
Yeah. Oh,
that
yeah.
sugary
Yeah.
corn and vanilla,
Well, back when
or
we
the
used to
corn
call it
pops.
sugar smacks, now they call it honey
Yeah,
smacks because of
yeah,
the
honey
lye.
smacks. Yeah,
There's no hot
yeah.
honey in it at all.
So, is this your first Irish single grain whiskey?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had a single grain before. I've had a single malt, but nothing labeled as single grain.
Yeah, I've got a few single grains. It's still grain whiskey in Ireland is still the majority of it's used in blends,
Right.
but there are a few releases of Irish single grain. The big tell for this is an Irish single grain. It's always really light in color. Typically, the color you typically get on the Irish single grain, most of the colors come in if they have finished it in a cask.
Finished it, right? Sugar Kitty put some information in there about it being 30% malted barley, Great Northern 50%
Yes.
corn. That sounds like a good recipe to me.
Yeah, this does not have any rye in it, but it probably does have wheat, but corn
And
is the vast majority. I've got some that are
and
almost
it
all
being
corn.
ruby port's very different. I think most everything I might have had one or two other things finished in ruby. Most everything else has been tawny port. So to get something that's already ruby port, which tends to be a little bit more savory, that's pretty tasty.
Have you never had Redbreast 27?
Yes. Is that the
That's
same
ruby
kind of
port.
finishing?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
ruby port. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I
That's
have.
probably the most well-known
I've
ruby
had a
port
sample
finish.
of it. Yeah, I've had a sample of it, but it's
Yeah.
probably been a couple years now. I
All
can
right,
never pull the
so
trigger on that bottle. I don't know what it is, but I can never pull the trigger on that bottle.
we did when it was 500, but honestly, now that it's
Right.
$800, $900, I've seen it for 1,000. You're better off getting a Redbreast single cask. I mean, you're still getting a cask strength aged Redbreast, but you're probably going to pay half as much.
Right.
So, hey, David Tonka, how are you doing? Cheers, everyone. All right, have you
I won't
gone
tell you
into
there's
the
a
tawny
store
yet?
near me that still has a 27 at $549.
I
I
would
probably
buy
shouldn't
that.
tell you that, right?
If it was, as long as it's not batch 3, I didn't like batch 3 as much.
I think it's
Have
batch
you
2,
have you
but I'll have to
tried your
check.
the tawny port yet here?
No, I'm going to it right now. I just wanted to clear my palate a little bit, drink a little
Smells
water.
very, very different.
I think I like the standing thing. I don't think I could do it for 3 hours though. Not considering what happens over the course of 3 hours. The only thing that's really in danger right now is floor whiskey, but sitting for 3 hours is a lot safer.
I've got to get a better situation for my floor whiskey. I think I'm going to bring up some totes because right now it's just bottles shoved in the corner.
Don't
And
do totes. Never do totes. I'm saying that as I've got totes on the other side of the room and cases and a pallet. Okay, so on the nose, this is crazy good. That's so much different. Chocolate.
Yeah, a lot of chocolate.
Oh,
At
God,
what
that's
price
nice.
is the Redbreast 27 a buy? I don't think, John, I would spend more than, I hate to say this, I don't think I'd spend more than 600 if it's me. Like I said, you can get Redbreast single casks. Whiskey Exchange just did another Redbreast single cask. They do them fairly often. And I mean, you're still getting, a 19, 20-year Redbreast. You're getting a single cask. They tend to be pretty darn good too.
In
I
half the
think
price.
yeah, and a lot less money.
I love the nose on this thing. This is fantastic. So much chocolate.
A lot of chocolate on the nose.
So much chocolate, like cocoa
And that's
powder
a lot of that's
and
coming because it was a
chocolate
really
and chocolate
fresh tawny
cake.
port cask.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's prevalent. But this was another one that was finished. Was it finished twice?
No, this one, well, yes, this one was finished twice. So it was finished in a fresh first fill tawny port cask.
Okay.
Then it was recast in a second fill tawny port cask. And James Morgan is right. Dingle Batch 6 is another single malt whiskey that's actually the entire maturation happened in a ruby port cask. And you do get a lot of cranberries on that.
Oh, that sounds good to me. This smells fantastic. There's a note there. I'm like, it's like Hershey's Special Dark cocoa powder, and then like chocolate cake, like fresh out of the oven. Like you just went and sniffed a fresh out of the oven chocolate
I do
cake.
get the cake, yeah.
God, that's crazy how much it smells like that. I can't get past it. That's all
Hey,
I'm
Joe.
smelling now. Let me take a minute. I'm gonna stiff myself. I smell good. All right, I gotta taste this. You ready to taste this thing?
All right, sláinte.
Sure. And thanks again. This is amazing.
No, I'm glad you're having fun.
Hmm. I'm gonna taste that again. It shut me up. That should tell you something.
Clearly hated it. Hey, Shredward. How are you doing, buddy? Joe's in here. It's good to Joe, drop your link. It's good to see you.
Hey, Joe. Hey, Ed. I don't know what to think of that. I've sipped it twice already, and it's like it literally shut me up because I've had other, I've had other port finish whiskeys, and this is nothing like them.
No.
A port finish rye, a port finish bourbon is nothing like a port finish single malt.
Port finished Irish whiskey in general takes itself to finishing very well. I've said, finishing a bourbon I think is a lot harder. Rye's a little easier, but
Yeah, I like
finishing a bourbon's
finish ryes.
hard because you've got to hit a sweet spot before, to where you could taste the finish, but it's not over finished. I think Irish provides a really nice canvas for finishing.
I think that's a nice way to put it too. It is like, because they're very complementary. It really takes to finish very well. I'm really surprised by this, how much chocolate there is on the nose, and then on the palate, it just does something entirely different. And I can't figure out what it's doing. It's doing like, it's taking me away. Sniff chocolate and then taste it, and it's not chocolate.
No, there's no chocolate. You get a lot more of the kind of the figgy notes on the palate.
Figs. I have there it is, figs, but dry fruits in general, like candied fruits,
very dry fruits.
Yeah, that's good.
So if you've got an extra glass, I'm going to have you do one more thing.
I have 6 glasses lined up. I'm so solid. You want me to do another, like a blend?
So what you're going to do, and you can kind of just pour a little of both. So you're going to pour a little of both of these into one glass. Because what I have actually sent you with these two is a deconstructed version of the Liberator Double Port.
Oh.
So this is a regular release that you can actually get in the US. Now this is proof down to 46%.
Yeah, we're going to be having that at cast strength.
Yeah. This is 46%, but this is made up of that Ruby Port Finish grain whiskey and the Tawny Port Finish malt whiskey. And this Facebook group that I'm a part of is the only place that you could get the deconstructed version. These were 2 releases that they had. Okay. They had 4 different releases, and all of them were all cast strength.
I put them in a completely different glass, so they're not in a Glen, so I can't confuse them with anything else.
So this is you're still gonna get the richness of that malt, but you're gonna start getting the sweeter notes from that ruby. Oh, thank you, Richie.
We'll let that sit for a second, revisit it. It's like
this one is one of my favorite ones. Oh, thank you, Dragon Bee. Not much of an Irish whiskey fan, but here to support the content anyway. That's all.
Brian, good to see you. Call me, buddy. We got to talk. I got a bunch of samples me and him are supposed to have together, and I've had them for like a month, maybe more than a month now. Thanks, Bob Glass. But me and Dragon Bee is the closest YouTuber, other person in the community physically to where I live. He's like right down the road. So me and Brian get together every once in a while. We got some whiskey.
Oh, that's cool. There are a few people that aren't far from me. Jason Mash and Drum, I've told you he's probably 20 minutes, well, he's more like 25 minutes from my house. I think Cam's not far. I think, uh-oh. We lost Cheech. Well, he'll rejoin. Hey, Steven. There you are.
It's appropriate that Dragon B was here when my computer decided to glitch because he built my computer for me. Ryan, we got to talk. All right, I've just been sniffing the blend and just swirling the heck out of it. So it's so funny how it smells like a completely different whiskey, though.
It does, and I don't know the exact, I don't look to see
The ratio.
the ratios. I don't even know if they put it on the bottle.
Yeah.
I mean, I could ask him, he would tell me, but.
Trying to figure out what that tastes like. Is it like a cherry cordial
Yeah.
with the chocolate and the fruit together?
Yeah, with because you
too?
get that fruitiness, you get the thing that the ruby port and the grain whiskey brings in is the sweetness. So it's definitely going more into like candy and dessert.
Yeah, it's sugar.
Yeah.
It's like almost straight up sugar, but with chocolate.
Yeah.
Damn, that's good.
That
And
one is available. It's in Ohio.
this glass is just completely coated. Like it's
Yeah.
not even running down the sides of the small taster. It's just stuck to the sides of the glass. That's crazy. So you said that one you can get in like a low ABV in the United States as a blend?
Yeah. This
Liberator.
one this is in Ohio at 46% ABV.
Okay.
For this one, if you want to keep with the tawny port because you really enjoyed that one is just tawny port. This is also 46% ABV. This is available in Ohio. And this one is Ireland's first vatted malt in 75 years, which means it's made from a single malt from Great Northern Distillery and a single malt from Cooley Distillery.
Okay.
So
and is that
malts.
only available in Ohio?
Right now, he's working on more widespread distribution. But right now, it is available in Ohio, which luckily people in Ohio.
I'm no one or two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that as a blend. I'm surprised how good that is.
Yeah.
Because most of the time when I try to blend stuff, it doesn't always work out. Hence why there's never a Whiskey Encore entry into Blendageddon. I make them and then I sit on them and then I taste them and then I don't send them to Jason.
I've tried and I'm like, well, I'm going to throw in this. I'm going to throw in some Blue Spot. And then I'm like, yeah, I don't like this. I'm not going to do this. Is too much work. I applaud people who can. I can't put together a good blend. I stink at it. Oh, thanks, Joe.
I'm going to drink out of my Joe glass next. I've never drank out of it, Joe. It's going to be tonight. Tonight I'm going to break it in.
I love my Joe glass. I got so nervous.
It's so deeply etched.
Because a coffee cup fell out of my cabinet and I had all my Glens lined up to go in the dishwasher and it smashed annihilated two of them. And I was really worried. And I'm like, all right, my Joe glass is okay. I think it was a Middle West Spirits glass. And I'm like, I'm not that upset about that one. I can get that one again. They're 20 minutes for me. It won't be that hard to get that one.
It's not too bad. I do like the Middle West stuff, though. They make some good.
I do, and I never get there. They're 20 minutes from my house, and I never get there.
Don't they have like distillery exclusives? Why?
They do. I actually took one to Brendan Cardy in Ireland. I packed a bottle of Middle West bourbon over to Ireland for him.
Yes, please. If you happen to run into any of that.
Oh yeah.
All right.
I think they have a Calvados out now, don't they? It was there when I got that one for him. I got him the VDN. It was
I have a Calvados. I don't know if you've had this. Let me see if I've got it right here. It was the Murray Hill Club special release from this year.
No, I have regular Murray Hill Club, but I don't have that.
Have you? I will send you some of this when I send you a package because this is a Calvados finish that Nancy Fraley did, and it was my whiskey of the year for 2024.
Really?
Yeah, it beat out Russell's 15.
I am in the minority. I didn't care for Russell's 15. I only tried it once. But I thought it was overdone. It was too tannic. Joe's a Middle West fan. Yeah, the one I picked out for Brendan was the VDN because it was a blend of their winter wheat and their pumpernickel rye, and Cologne likes to experiment with oats and wheat and rye, so It was more fitting, so I got that one for him.
Do you know about Two Soul Spirits? They're the ones they get stuff from different places and then they do a secondary finish on it. And they have a toasted or double barreled pumpernickel rye from Middle West where they got that and then they did an additional finish. I'm trying to see if I can get to it, but it's further off screen. But I'll send you some of that too.
That sounds yummy. That sounds really good. We have a place in a local place called Echo Spirits, and that's what they do. They buy casks from people and then they do finishing. They got a bunch of Bardstown and did a double oaked on it.
Double barreled pumpernickel rye.
Oh, double barreled pumpernickel rye. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Look at the color on that.
Yeah, it's dark.
That's nice. That sounds really good.
I'm literally starting your pile right now.
I'm a rye fan, so I'm right there with you. I'd pick rye over bourbon. I think most Irish people, whiskey drinkers, tend to gravitate more towards rye.
I would say I'm probably on my shelves, probably 20% rye, which is a lot considering how much more bourbon there is than rye. I seek out rye, so.
See, it's bourbon on my shelves because I drink all the rye. Although my husband has learned, he's getting me Wild Turkey 101 rye, so I always have that around to drink.
Christine, have Mark or you message me and I'll send you a sample of that if you want to try that. I'm going to send Mark. I have some stuff I need to send him. I got to send back his aged in ore sample bottle that I've had for almost a year. I got a little car accident after I saw him last, so I've had a lot going on, but I will return his bottle full. I'll return it to him full. He sent me Octomore in it, or gave me Octomore in it, so nice. I owe him. I'm going to send him a PACO1. Don't listen, Mark.
Yeah, don't pay attention. You need to be surprised.
He'll forget. Probably just writing it down. Cheech said he sent.
All right, so we're on our last two. For those of you guys who have seen the thumbnail, it got completely through. I posted it 3 times and it completely got past me that it's actually 5 whiskeys and 1 Irish rum, not 6. So that's what I get. Hey, Mr. Jigs. Cheers to you. Hope you're doing good.
Good to see you, buddy.
So I wanted to send you this, and it made sense to send you, if I'm going to send you this whiskey, to send you a sample of what it was finished in. So
yeah, I was just checking the samples out. I didn't open the samples till right before I got on with you, so I didn't even know what they were. I wanted to be completely blindsided.
So for 2023 and 2024, I was the head of the chairperson, elected chairperson of the Killowen Enthusiast Group, which we call ourselves the Killowen Cult. And Killowen did a release for this group of their rum, and they did it it's a blackberry rum. So this is an Irish dark rum that is a blackberry rum. And this one is molasses and blackberries is how they distilled it. Direct flame fired, thumper keg distilled.
68% ABV.
Yes, they use blackstrap molasses and 25 kilograms of local Killowen blackberries.
I'm not good with math, but that's like 50 pounds.
Yeah, and I mean, he details that this was fermented for 1 week, followed by the directly in, like, outdoors, which Brendan does a lot. Killowen does this a lot. They'll just leave it outside to let natural yeast happen, natural fermentation happen.
Real open fermentation.
Yes, so he did that for a week, followed by domestic yeast strain. So they needed domestic. It's double distilled, pulp and all, and he aged it for 20 months in a refill Sauterne cask.
Okay.
So this is a 65.68% rum. I'm going to pour a little bit of this.
Yeah, I'm going to pour some of that too. And here we go. In my Independent Joe, Glenn, that I've never used until this moment.
So now,
saving it up.
In the other glass, we're going to have another release that was done for the Killowen Enthusiast Group. That's called Legendary, and this is a single pot still whiskey that was finished in this blackberry rum cask, and this is Killowen Barrentool.
That's cool. That's a very good way to do a flight.
So this one is 61.12% ABV. This is a GI compliant single pot still. So Brendan Carty at Killowen is known for wanting to do different mash bills, and some of them don't all fall within the GI compliant single pot still technical file, which is kind of stupid and doesn't really follow historic single pot still Irish whiskey at all, because it only allows you to use up to 5% of another grain that isn't malted or unmalted barley. Historically, that would have been more 30, 30, 30. So a lot of times he makes whiskey that he just called a mixed mash bill because it doesn't fall, it isn't GI compliant.
It's
But
out of compliance, yeah.
he also measures things by the sack instead of making like exact measurements within the mash bill. And I can never get the freaking cards out of this. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I can never get the card out of the box, but it has like all the details for the maturation of this whiskey. So this was 8 sacks of malted barley, 4.5 sacks of unmalted barley, 1 sack of malted Maris otter barley, 1/4 sack of oats, 1/4 sack of wheat. And then this one was aged 3 years in an ex-peated bourbon cask, 6 months in this ex-blackberry rum cask, and then 2 months in an ex-bourbon cask from Cooley Distillery.
I am so glad you just said the word peat as I was sniffing it, because I was like, I'm smelling peat.
Yes. Yeah,
right
on
there.
the whiskey, you're going to get a little bit of that peated cask influence.
I like it though. I like the nose.
Yeah.
I haven't sniffed the. I'm going to go back to the blackberry rum after I sniff the whiskey, and see if I can go back and forth and smell the. Now I'm doing the blackberry rum.
That's a wild color. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy. What is that? That's definitely not whiskey. It doesn't even smell like rum though. It smells like what is that? I have the word for it. I just can't find it yet.
Whiskey too, and she hasn't tried it yet. It's waiting for at the brother-in-law's house in Ireland. Amy's husband is Irish.
Okay. Score.
Little of this, little of that, a sack here, a sack there. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize there is Irish rum. Cologne has 3 or 4. They actually also make a peated rum. Copeland Distillery also has 3 or 4 different versions of rum, so it's a thing.
Oh, it's a thing. I was told once by a rum expert, I'm not going to name names, but he said rum can exist anywhere on the planet as long as you have a source of sugar and a coastline. That was his. He's like, you can find rum everywhere. I guess it's the easiest one. So
Copeland's big into their rum, probably too because they're in Donaghadee, they're on the coast. So there was a lot of pirate smuggling that happened in that area,
right,
of people smuggling it from Ireland, Scotland, and the UK region. So they've kind of leaned into that big maritime history, and they started producing these rums that are really good, and they started finishing whiskey in them. Brendan does this one, and I love the peated rum's really good.
Yeah. This is I'm trying to put the note on the nose. I haven't tasted either of them, but I'm sniffing the rum, and it's an obscure note, but maybe 1 or 2 people will know what it is. There's a modeling clay called plasticine. It's not Play-Doh. It doesn't smell like Play-Doh at all. It smells like this higher end, like modeling clay, but not in a bad way. It's not off-putting at all.
Well, and I tell you, a lot of the note
Earthy.
I get on a lot of Cologne whiskeys, and on this rum, is there is a kind of it's not really a smoky, but it's kind of like a burnt brown sugar, and that's from that natural yeast production that he does. It's the Maillard effect, and you'll get kind of, it's like I said, it's not a smoky note, but it's definitely a char kind of note.
I've only sniffed both of them. I haven't tasted them yet. I'm about to though. I think I'm going to taste the whiskey first though.
I went with the rum first.
Well, you know what you're tasting. I don't.
I do. I haven't gone back to this rum in a long time, and I kind of, with all the whiskey, I forget it's there, but it's so flippin' good. And doesn't drink like the proof. And yeah, 65%, 65.68%. All right, so you tried the whiskey?
I just had a sip of the whiskey. I'm going to have another sip of it. Sláinte.
I love that one.
It's light. It's like gosh, there's a lot of flavor though, and that finish goes on forever. That's crazy.
It's a very light 122 proof Irish whiskey.
I don't know if proof gets to me anymore. I wish it did sometimes. That way I'd slow down. Um, yeah, that's crazy. I'm trying to,
And it doesn't really taste peated, but it adds kind of a richness, almost like a pipe
yeah,
tobacco kind of note.
it's like earthy. Yeah, there's an
Yeah,
earthiness to it. But it's funny because the peat came through on the nose. I'm not really
doesn't
tasting
come
the
through on
peat,
the palate.
but I'm getting an earthiness to it,
Yeah, it
which
doesn't
must
come
be the
through as
peat.
much on the palate. The palate, I get blackberries and cream.
Yeah. Oh, the cream thing is for real. You're not kidding.
Mhm.
Almost buttery.
And again, you're going to see oil just dripping
Yeah. All of
down the
them have been
glass
like
big
this.
time.
Here's a glass nobody has. Lifetime whiskey.
Oh, wow.
Can't really tell, but it's got Julie right there. And then Dan
Oh.
right there. I really shouldn't drink out of this. I should put it away someplace safe.
They were some of my first guests because when I got the Redbreast Christmas cake, Julie was so excited about it, so I invited them on to do a flight of it and sent them samples of that Redbreast Christmas cake. I missed that. That was a good bottle.
That's the problem with they come with a hole in them. They're flawed.
Yeah, yeah, and it was a Middleton Barrel Club release, so you can't get it again except
Yeah,
on
yeah.
secondary and it's secondary. I think they go for like 350, 400 for an not for a non-age stated Redbreast.
Yeah. I can tell
It
you
was
this. I've come to the conclusion there's no way I can get everything,
yeah.
but I might get a chance to try a lot of stuff, even though I can't get it. Yeah.
That is, yeah, that's a very good point because when I first really started getting into Irish whiskey right before about the time I started my channel, I was buying every new release and with 44, 45 operating distilleries on 44 now. Sorry, Waterford. Operating distilleries on the island of Ireland plus all the whiskey bonders, it's not possible. It's just
Yeah.
not possible to get every single release. So I've had to pick favorite brands. I mean, it's just what you got to do.
Well, I think that's a natural progression as well as you do find your favorites. You find the stuff
Yeah.
that works with your palate and the stuff that just pleases you. So,
Oh, hey, J Cells. Look at these two
what's up,
intelligent, beautiful
Jonathan?
people
I
making
don't
the
know about this
whiskey tubes
intelligent
even
part. There's at
better.
least one of us here.
Hey, it's good to see you, Boston. How you doing? I am
All right, I'm going
sending
back to the blackberry rum now. I have not tasted it on its own yet.
gave Cheech some very low proof stuff tonight at 61%. I think the lowest one we actually have had is
50 something, 57, I believe.
57, 58,
57 on the
58%.
Liberator, the Bones
Uh,
Peak,
oh, yeah,
57.7.
you're right. The Liberator was 57.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's kind of
I'm
what I
going
say
back
when
to the
people are like,
blackberry
look,
rum, and it's not a rum. It doesn't smell like a rum.
no, it's a very different rum.
It's so weird. But
Very
it's
different
good.
rum.
I'm gonna taste it now and see what I get.
I love the color of the rum too. That's natural color. And it is kind of pink.
It is kind of pink. That's good.
Yeah, that's big time.
That's good.
Blackberry, vanilla.
Yeah, the blackberry thing, like it doesn't come over as blackberries, but it definitely comes over as like a fruit. And that vanilla creamy thing is for real, for real.
Mhm.
And it's got great mouthfeel. It's very slippery and
Oily.
yeah, it's so good.
Huge amount of oil on the glass on a rum.
Yeah, that's
Crazy.
good.
That's one of the things. I mean, a lot of people who aren't as big into Irish whiskey, they think Irish whiskey is low proof because they're thinking like Jameson, like Redbreast.
Right,
And I'm like, I have to dig to find something other than Bushmills that's 40%.
right.
Because all the stuff I have, 46 is usually like the starting, 45, 46 is a starting point. I can't find a 40% on my shelf very easily.
I run into that same problem every Tuesday when I know I'm going to be cheersing people for the first hour of my stream, and I'm like, I got to start something low proof, and I usually do Wild Turkey 81 proof, which I'm currently out of, and I have to scramble to find something that's lower-ish proof to cheers with. It's a struggle because there's too much cask strength stuff on the shelf. But that's what we go for. That's how it usually is.
Same. I'm usually buying more like single casks and two. I have a ton of two stacks, as you can see from right here. That's all 2 stacks and
Oh, there you go.
off screen, and that's all cask strength. I think the
I,
lowest
I
one
like
on
how
that shelf is
organized
like
you are. As you can tell
56.
behind me, it's not really that organized. It's kind of organized. Some of the shelves are very
I
organized, and then
keep
there's
buying more and having to swap stuff in and out.
uh, I'm probably back up to about 60 bottles on the floor too. So,
I
a lot.
don't have that many, but all of our um Scotch and bourbon is downstairs, and I do. I have ever been to like 30, 40 bottles on the floor.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to the whiskey now that's finished in that rum and see if I get something different off the whiskey now that I've tasted the rum. That rum's very interesting though, because it's doesn't taste like rum. It tastes way different than most rums
It's
that I've ever had.
it's a little different.
Yeah.
Hey, cheers, bourbon engineer. It's good to see you.
Cheers.
All these rum notes make me crave rum port. Hey, whiskey joker.
You ever want to watch something
Cheers to you.
hilarious? Go back about 2 years. There's a Whiskey Encore. It's called That's Not Whiskey, and it's me and Jen drinking rums.
I saw that.
Uh,
I
I
saw
can
that
just tell
episode.
you, we ended that stream just in time because we had been sitting the whole time, and then when we went to stand, we realized that we had been drinking quite a bit of rum and quite a bit of
Yeah.
high proof rum. It happens. What's up, Mark?
Hey, thanks, Mark. Mark's
Hey, Mark,
another great
I just want to tell
channel
Mark
that I
I'm
never
standing.
catch.
I'm trying to catch more. I'm trying to tell Mark I'm standing. I'm pulling his shtick, because he's always standing.
Mark always stands. Mark stood through the whole flight that he had with me.
Another late nighter, is that what you're going to say? At least he's on the
Another
West
late
Coast.
nighter. Another one that I'm usually awake to jump in and say hi, and then yeah. But yeah, so yeah, we're drinking some Culloden Irish whiskey. Everybody knows it's my favorite.
I like it.
But
I really like
so I
this one.
started putting, and I'm like, if I'm going to send you this whiskey, I have to send you the rum that this is finished
Yeah.
on.
Now that I've gone back to the whiskey after having the rum, like I'm getting way more of the rum finish on
The
this.
rum notes.
Yeah, it's very nice though. But it plays nice. It plays nice with this.
It does. But I'm
I think
noticing
it plays
I
nice
don't
with the
get that
pot
peat as
still.
much.
I think it plays with the pot still very well.
Yeah.
I think that's really where it shines. And the peat's
Yeah,
just
that's
on the
spice
nose. I'm
comes
not really
through
getting
more.
much peat on the palate.
No, especially when you go back to the rum and then come back
Yeah.
to the whiskey. I don't get the peat as much nearly at all.
Yeah. I definitely get more of the blackberry now.
So I'm gonna have to ask you, do you have a favorite in this
Out of
flight?
all these, okay, so yes. I'm gonna give this one an honorable mention though, because it's so unique and different from pretty much anything I've ever had. It's very, very unique on what's going on.
Which is your honorable mention?
This is the blackberry finished
The
pot
blackberry
still.
rum,
Yeah, the Killowen, right?
the Culloden,
Killowen.
the whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then my absolute favorite, I actually marked it. I put a coin on top of it because I said I'm going to visit. Believe it or not, we're going back to the Dunville's 12,
The Dunville's 12,
the 1749, the second one. This is crazy good. I'm
that
probably going to drink the
is-
rest of this tonight. Maybe not all of it, but I'll drink more
that
of
was
it.
this one.
So good. Oh yeah, and going back to it now, it's even crazier because now it definitely smells more like a toffee caramel thing
Yeah, you're gonna get very
and
different notes.
chocolate. It's like a score bar. It smells like a freaking score bar.
Yeah, you've gone from sherry to port to rum back to sherry.
Right. That's a lot of finishes.
It's a lot of finishes.
Yeah, I like that. I like that Dunville quite a bit.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this flight. Like I said,
Yeah.
I started putting it together, and I started with the Dunvilles, and it kind of, I'm like, this would be a great opportunity to kind of showcase the varieties of Irish whiskey, and then I got you the deconstructed port and this one and the
The
Culloden
crazy
and the
thing is
rum.
it doesn't taste like any other Irish whiskeys I've ever had. Like, because I've had the Spots and I've had the Redbreast and not really getting that same kind of vibe. This is very different from that stuff.
Once you get away from those major brands, there's
a lot of
huge variety with
uniqueness
Irish
here.
whiskey.
Yeah,
Huge.
I like it. Very delicious.
Huge.
Thank you so much. Thank you for
Thank you.
sending me whiskeys I can't get. No, that's a good thing. You're looking out for me. I appreciate it. But
You
I owe
can
you
you can
now.
get some you
I owe
you
you
can get
now.
some things for actually you can get the Dunvilles. I can't get it in my state. You can get it in yours. They will
Okay.
ship to
Well,
your state. Yeah.
send me the link.
Yeah.
Send me a link, any link. I'll see what I can do.
Yep.
But I do owe you one,
There's a
so
link.
I'm going to send you a flight, and we'll do this again uh,
Yes,
as soon as we
absolutely.
can. Let's just say as soon as we can. It'll probably
Yeah.
be at least a month because I got a meetup coming up at the first part of February. So
I because how busy I typically am in clearly in January, February, March. I've tried to book every weekend because I do local Irish whiskey tasting events as well. So I've got those booked. I've got, you know, and Irish stuff with the local Irish organizations booked. I'm the hibernian of the year, so I've got to be in the parade and do all this stuff. So, but definitely I want to put something together because I'm excited. I'm excited to come on your channel and try the whiskeys that you have for me.
yeah, like I said, it'd be about a month before I get stuff to you, just because I got other
That's
stuff going on.
totally
But
fine.
listen, you sent me this. I don't know how long ago you sent me this flight, but scheduling and the holidays and
Yeah.
everything else, I kept it untouched.
I'm glad I did because between the holidays and the snowstorm, it took me forever to get the other stuff out the door. And I'm like, it doesn't make sense to ship it right now. It's not going anywhere. So I just waited
Right.
till the snowstorm left.
Well, thank you
So
so
next
much.
week on my channel, I have got Shane McCarthy from Two Stacks Irish Whiskey is going to be joining us. He is going to be talking about some of the Two Stacks Irish Whiskey, how Two Stacks came to be, talk about their canned whiskey, and talk about some upcoming releases. Two Stacks is working on national distribution here in the States, and he's going to be giving us more info on that, where you can get Two Stacks Irish Whiskey. You guys know I'm a big fan. It's all cask strength. It's really good stuff. They've got an Irish cream that's freaking unreal too. We brought like a whole case of it home from Ireland. The week after that, on the 26th, my guest is Marty from Whiskey Knows. So I've already got a flight started for Marty. I'm gonna get that out this week, hopefully this week. Coming up after that on the 16th, I'm having Matt from Whiskey Crusaders. So
Oh,
he's going to join me. I'm going to send him a flight of some stuff. I don't get to catch Whiskey Crusaders as much as I'd like to now, but I know Matt's a real big Irish whiskey fan. I've hooked him up with Brendan Carty from Cologne to be on their channel before. March 2nd, guys, mark your calendars, and I will really try hard to pay attention to chat. That is when my guest is Donald Rance. You know,
awesome.
Donald is, I jokingly say, Donald is such a wealth of information that he probably knows the name of the guy that put the label on the bottle
Right.
at the distillery.
He decided to wear
So
loafers that day.
Donald could probably tell you. I told Morris O'Connell that from Wayward Irish, and he's like, Donald, his name is Mark. Okay. Then on March 16th, the day before St. Patrick's Day, I'm putting together a very special single barrel St. Patrick's Day. So I've got a flight that I've already been writing down. I'm kind of finalizing that I'm putting together, and my guests so far, as long as nothing happens, because they're very busy people, and it's still ways out. But my guests are right now are Leanne from Scotch on the Bayou and Jason from Mash and Drum. So I'll let you guys know as those dates get closer. We'll finalize plans, but I'm trying to fill up my calendar here for the days, and I'm so excited about St. Patrick's Day this year.
You're planned out way more in advance than I am.
Like I said, I get
That's
busy
not hard to do,
local.
by the way. I plan out about an hour.
I get busy locally too. For those of you in the Central Ohio area, on January 31st, I have a JJ Corey whiskey tasting at the historic Jury Room in downtown Columbus. So tickets are on Eventbrite. If you want to attend that, check it out.
That sounds awesome. I'm not coming to
Uh,
Ohio until it thaws out, though.
I don't blame you. I don't. Yeah, it's not gonna
Let's
stop.
let's see.
We're
I'll tell
supposed
you
to
what the
keep this
temperature here
stuff
is in
till next
Florida,
week.
just so you know what the temperature in Florida is right now.
Oh yeah, please do.
It's cooler than you think. That's the thing. 48 degrees currently. 48 degrees outside.
It's actually 32 here.
Oh,
It's going to be 8 on Tuesday, and 6 on Wednesday, and 4 on Thursday.
sounds like they're leaving off some numbers.
Yeah, right. I don't mind the snow. I don't mind the snow at all. It's cold that I can't deal with. And I work from home normally, so I just don't go outside.
Yeah, I
It's
never
been
leave
bad.
this room. I'm pretty much just live in this room at this point.
Oh, David, I'm a Browns fan. We've given up all hope for this year.
My wife's a Steelers fan, so ditto.
Yeah, it's been bad. We did see the sun today. It's been weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, we saw it today too for the first time in a while. But it's back
Yeah.
to not sunny tomorrow.
Everybody talking about Leanne. Yeah, Leanne from Scotch on the Bayou is such
Yeah,
a
I
nice
like
lady.
Scotch on the Bayou. I wish I could see it more often, but it interferes with a couple other things I do. I do catch it every once in a while.
Yeah, meanwhile, 28 in New Jersey. That was the bad thing about this snowstorm, is that it didn't go anywhere because the weather was so cold. Normally we get a lot of snow, but it'll melt within a few days. This time
Oh,
it ain't
yeah.
going anywhere.
You're stacking up. Well, this is for the first time in a week that we're not getting down into the 30s tonight, so only 42 for our low.
Did I hear right that like the little
Yeah,
lizards
not me,
in Florida will
not me,
freeze
Sugar
and fall
Kitty,
off the
Jen.
trees?
I'm too far north for iguanas, so I'm out of the iguana
Oh,
zone.
okay.
But yeah, anything like south of, I guess south of Orlando, that's where more of the iguanas are. Definitely down in like Naples, Florida, the Gulf side, all the way down to Miami. They get plenty of iguanas, and they do fall out of the trees. They're not dead.
So
They just go catatonic. You know, their body temperature drops so much that they just can't hold onto the branch anymore, so they just fall.
That's
It's
gotta be
okay.
so weird.
They're built for it.
Trying to
It's
sleep
kind
at night hearing iguanas fall out of the trees.
It's kind of like that, though. I'm not going to say it's not like that. It's kind of like that. They do fall out, and some of them are big enough for you to hear them fall. There you go,
Oh, Amy.
56. That sounds.
I will
You're
say
freezing.
Amy is in Arizona, so yeah.
Wouldn't call that freezing per se, but I get it. When you're used to 100-degree temperatures, that's cold.
Oh, hey, Jeffrey Wack. Hello again, whiskey friends. There's one of my fellow Ohioans.
Hello again, Jeffrey Wack.
We're
I just drank a bunch of Irish.
wrapping up an Irish whiskey flight.
Stacey, thanks again for real. I'm
thank
still
you.
sipping on the Dunville 12s.
I'd say Jeffrey and his friends were fans of the Hello Again friends. Were fan of Dunvilles. I sent them a Dunville.
This is really good. I'm gonna finish off what I poured.
Well, thank you again for joining me today. I kind of went over the 7 o'clock by 15 minutes, so I want to wrap it up. So everybody can go check out Kilco's live right now, and then at 7:30 is Anthony at Bourbon Mia Fight. Make sure you check those guys out. Make sure you check this guy out. When you are live on, is it Wednesday nights?
It's
Thursday
Tuesday
nights.
night, but it's so late it goes into Wednesday morning.
Yes.
11:15 p.m. on Tuesdays Eastern time. 11:15 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays.
So make sure you guys go and check them out. I will see you guys all here next Sunday with Shane McCarthy from Two Stacks. And you guys all enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Sláinte.
Sláinte.